let's get it popping.
Sweet. So my name is Rob. I play drums in the band Midtown. Heath, I'll pass it to you.
I am Heath, and I play guitar and sing sometimes in the band Midtown.
Perfect. We got you on the pod today, and we are very excited. So, I mean, let's get nostalgic a little bit. I remember Midtown being a thing when I was, I guess, high school. I think I'm old, and this is a very good thing for an elder emo like me, where I get to experience part of that like pre-Warped Tour or like early Warped Tour, pre all these like big reunion festivals and all that. It's like, yeah, I remember Midtown. I was cool.
I was cool once.
It's cool once.
I've got some things that are legit about me, you know.
So let's address everything right at the top. You guys are one, back, but two, also back in opening for My Chemical Romance on a handful of their shows. So how did that kind of come to fruition? One, getting you back, and then two, getting back on these bills.
Well, a couple of years ago, we decided that we missed playing music together, and we tried to set something up to practice one day after work. Rob, Tyler, and I all work around maybe 20, 30 miles away from each other. So we found a central location, met there after work, and started trying to play through some of the old songs, and just had a really great time. We left there. We're like, we should definitely do this again soon. This was awesome. And then like 2 days later, the world shut down and we didn't get to do it again for a very long time. But, you know, over the past 2 years, we've all kept in touch, and we were all very much looking forward to the day that we could practice together again, be with each other, hang out, and play music together. We've talked about it often. And at some point in time, Rob, please correct me if I'm wrong about this, but I think both Tyler and Gabe had talked to Mikey from my chem, just a random check-in, and mentioned to him that we were looking to, play a couple shows when the world opened up again. And Mikey was like, "That's really cool." He's like, "Why don't you guys play some shows with us?" And
Casual.
Like, yeah, that would be awesome. So he just offered us some dates on their tour, and it's real. It's actually happening. It's so cool that he offered to take us out on a part of their tour. It's great. It's awesome.
Yeah, the story's even more like ironic and funny than it even seems from the beginning. Because what would happen is, man, Tyler would text me, Heath, and Gabe all the time and say, like, "Hey guys, what's up?" like not like pretending that he's got nothing to say, and then he's like, "Yeah, so like, yeah, maybe just for fun, we should play a show. We should not a play show. We should just like rehearse. Like, let's just, it'd be fun to play guitar again, So he would say that like from time to time, and then he'd get a little more like on it about it, and then he'd be like, "Yeah, so my kids kind of want to see our band play," and then Heath has kids now, and Gabe has kids.
My kids don't want to see our band play, for the record.
No.
They don't. They're not interested.
But what happened was so because we were texting, we were like thinking about potentially, maybe, possibly doing a show at some point, because it's been so many years. So Tyler was talking to Gabe, Tyler was talking to Mikey Way from my chem, and I guess mentioned it and stuff, but didn't tell us he said this to anybody else in the world, because in our minds, it was like the three of us are the only people that knew. So Gabe sees Mikey Way in LA, and Mikey's like, "Hey, Gabe, so I heard you're going to do some shows again." And Gabe's like, "Wait, what are you talking? How did you know this?" So Tyler's little like funny scheme to try to get us to do a show again, which just kind of snuck up on everybody and somehow got to Mikey of all people. And then Mike Kemp was nice enough to ask us out to play the shows. So, we were like, well, their shows sold out way ahead of time before this, because these are, makeup shows, I think, from everything that happened during COVID. So they let us do our New Jersey headline shows, even though it's sort of the same market because they were already sold out. So we were really lucky there. But it's funny what Heath said before about like his kids have no interest in seeing his father play music. His kid called us at rehearsal last week, and Heath put it on FaceTime. And my understanding from you, Heath, is like his kid was just like, "Okay, is the song done yet? Like, I just want to talk to you, Dad." Like, didn't care about seeing us performing.
Yeah, we were playing a song, and I think we're in like the second verse. I see him calling. It's FaceTime. I open it up. I'm like, "Hey, man, I'm at practice." I'm like, "I'm gonna play this guitar solo now." And I put the camera on. I'm playing the guitar solo. And I can just see him, and he's like, and he's talking. He's like, "What's the password so I can get this app on my iPad?
Oh my God.
I want to get this app. Dad, stop playing.
Dad, stop playing. You're
please."
not cool. Give me the password. Otherwise, I'm gonna.
Yeah.
Like,
He's not impressed.
It's like, it's as if we were 12 years old and pretending our parents were in a band, and they're like, playing their Buddy Holly music or some kind of like jazz thing, right? We'd be like, "No, we want Operation Ivy or Rancid or something." You know what I mean? Like, it's just not interesting at all. However, if my dad had played music and did any of that stuff, I think that would be pretty cool. However, everything's 20/20 in hindsight. But nonetheless.
Now here's the thing: like, if you were like the bassist for like I don't know, Doja Cat or something, would your kids be like immediately like, "Hell yes, let's go"? Or are they just still like uninterested?
No. I don't think they would be interested at all. I think they would just like maybe be interested to like meet Doja Cat, but like not at all interested in the way that the music is performed.
Okay.
They don't care, which is odd because when my son was very little, he was drawn to guitar. He used to grab, like, I had guitars all over the place, and he used to bring me guitars and sit on my lap, and we would play guitar. He would sit there, and he would, like, hold the pick, and he would strum it, and I would move things around. I have a video of us playing, like, a Nirvana song, and he's just, like, playing. I'm moving my left hand, and he's, like, singing and playing. It's awesome. At some point, he stopped, being interested in it. Maybe one day it'll come back. I don't know. But yeah, he's not interested anymore.
You have to get the teenage angst. Like, it really's gotta hit him somewhere. Then it comes back.
I know. But, I think what Rob said was really true, is that, like, you never think that the things that your parents do are cool, no matter how cool it is. So he'll go probably the opposite way. He's not going to get into punk rock. He'll probably get into, like, skiing or something. And that'll be his form of rebellion will be, like, some sort of, like, athletic, some sort of sport.
Dad, I just want to go down the mountain. Come on.
I just want to go to the ski resort. God.
I know you don't want me to do it. And that's why I want to do it. So.
Yeah, I always worry about that. Like, if I have kids in the future, it's like, I just want, like, a cool punk rock kid. And it's like, no, they're not going to do that. They're going to be like, they're just going to be into something completely different. I'm like, well, then what's the point? If I can't make a little me, what am I even doing here? Like, if my kid's not going to think it's cool that I'm talking to a band going on tour with Mike Hem, what are we doing here? What am I doing here?
Yeah, then you'll never win. Then they'll never think you're cool.
Never think I'm cool.
Teenagers. See what I did there?
There you go.
I did. Yeah, that was good.
Thank you.
That was good, Rob. I liked it.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess it's like, this is the time when a lot of these bands are coming back. It's a lot of, like, the nostalgia factor, the fests are all popping up. Everybody's going back on tour, reuniting. Was there any thought of like, was there a bigger thing of, like, we are going to do this as, like, this nostalgia grab or this nostalgia thing? Or was it really, like, just randomly we're just together again? I know you guys reunited in 2014, but is it more like just kind of we like hanging out and we like playing music, and that's all we want to do, and it just so happens that people are still stoked? Or is it, like, what's the thought process on getting back together?
Yeah, so there was zero like nostalgia grab. In fact, I don't know when this term elder emo even came to exist, but I feel like everything happened, not everything happened, but things got amplified for whatever the emo, like the crazy emo stuff going on right now, 100% because of the pandemic, right? You're all home. You're like, you can't see your friends anymore. You have time where you're not driving everywhere. And then you're able to like revisit where you came from and your roots and the things you liked. And it was much, and those things are much more meaningful because you're not able to have these, in-person, face-to-face conversations. Take that, pair it with everybody is now glued to their phones because they're not in school. They're not wherever they are. TikTok starts to get bigger. My God, like I'm on freaking emo TikTok, and I'm seeing everybody talk about how Rites of Spring is like the original emo band. In reality, coming from people our age, nobody gave a shit about Rites of Spring when we were growing up. They loved Fugazi and Minor Threat, even
Someone
bands like Mineral and Elliott, but nobody was talking about Rites of Spring. Like what?
Rob, that's going to be on our new T-shirt, Midtown.
That is,
nobody gave a shit about Rites of Spring.
Instead of like the original emo originated, and you're about to piss off so many people on the internet, and I love it.
Good.
Yeah, but you know what? Nobody over the age of 35 because they all lived through it. But nonetheless, so like when all this idea happened, like he said, somehow the only time we had ever practiced in 8 years was 7 days before everything shut down during the pandemic. So it was already in motion. And the thing was, TikTok, it's been having this moment where, people are talking about things, they're excited about things and, whatever it may be. But basically all these shows we had were all set before the When We Were Young festival announced. And it seemed like when that festival announced, it was like, oh, wow, this emo revival thing is really here right now. Like, it's really, really here. That happens. Then all these other tours come out. And then, Machine Gun Kelly goes emo and his album comes out and there's songs about like emo girl or whatever the song is. And so it's here. And it's like, I'm actually like, how did this all happen at the same time that we just happened to have done these shows? So the happenstance was actually, listen, I'm not hating on any of it. Like, I think it's awesome for us and our fans because it's just made everything a lot more fun and a lot more exciting, quite frankly.
So you're not getting on the whole MGK Prince of Pop Punk that Billboard put out. You're not getting on the hate train like everybody else is, giving him more publicity for people that, people who hate him at this point because of this resurgence.
Nah.
So, I mean, the other thing, and like, go ahead, Heath.
I was just gonna say, besides Rites of Spring, who we've obviously started a feud with on this interview.
I don't think we
only start on
I think they would agree. I think they'll agree with us, quite frankly. They'll be like, wait, why couldn't we have been bigger then? We would have still been a band.
I think you're right, Rob. I think this is something we should explore, is our rivalry with Rites of Spring. But we shouldn't include any other bands in it.
Why are you escalating nothing, Heath? Come on, man.
We're actually just starting beef only here on this podcast today.
Yeah.
Midtown versus every other emo band to ever be prominent in existence.
Oh, definitely. We want no beef. I'm past that in my life. I just want to sleep. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I want to do my work
all the time.
Play drums,
Great.
code a little bit, and go to sleep.
Yeah. There's a certain point in your life where you're like, I get that like starting a beef right now would get me very popular in the music scene, but like, fuck, dude, I'm gonna have to stay awake and like, I'd have to be on Twitter. That seems awful.
Beef is so dumb. I'll tell you why beef is dumb. Obviously, it's dumb. But the reason it's like really dumb when you're young and like hating on other bands, the truth is like when you're in the scene and you're in these bands and there's these little beefs, if you're all in it together and the scene gets bigger, that's actually going to be better for your band. It's not like one band by getting bigger is taking away from another band by being smaller. It doesn't work that way. And This isn't really about that, but there was this band from New Jersey called Lanemeyer, right? And our buddy Doyle has this podcast called This Was the Scene Podcast. Like I said, you all grow together. There's no beef between podcasts. And but the thing was like we had a beef. I don't even know why, quite frankly, really, with Lanemeyer when we were like 19, 20 years old. I don't even know why. I don't even care why. But more recently, in the past 4 or 5 years, I reconnected with the band. I even re-released their vinyl on my record label. But I was like, this is such BS because this kid would have been like my best friend if we didn't have band beef back then. And it totally ruined all so like beef between bands is so dumb because the reality is we're all like especially in the scene, you're so much more similar than you are different. So it makes absolutely no sense to have any.
Yeah, you're all just trying to do the same thing from a different angle, you know?
True. We have, I think we've seen a lot more bands like coming together now that the internet has made everything like a lot more of like a flat plane for everybody. Like I remember being like in bands and it's just like, dude, they have clearly more money than us. They have clearly like they can afford better gear. They got like a whole backdrop and stuff. And then I'm just like, why am I mad that they have those resources? I just want those resources for myself. This is just out of jealousy. But now that like the internet is just making everything easier and cheaper and better for everybody, and you can just do everything on TikTok and blow up. I'm like, yeah, this is much easier to be nice to people now.
Hopefully. I have a question of research that I want fact checked. If you can all help me with this.
Sure.
To go back to your Machine Gun Kelly thing. So I put out in 2007, 2008. I put out an artist on my record label called 4 Year Strong. Have you heard of them?
Yeah.
Heard of them, yeah.
So you may need to interview them and get a fact check on this, or even ask Machine Gun Kelly. So back then, and maybe it's around.
You're frozen, Rob.
4 Year Strong had. What's that? Damn it! It's this. I may switch computers.
No, you're okay now. You're okay.
Okay.
You're good.
okay
You're
now.
good. Keep going
yeah.
for it.
Okay.
It tells you not to anymore.
Yeah. So they had an album called Rise or Die Trying, and it had a very specific font, Rise or like literal exact specific font. And the big song off that album was Heroes Get Remembered, Legends Never Die.
Mm-hmm.
So around 2011, 2010, Machine Gun Kelly, like probably one of his early tattoos, because now he's got a million. He got a tattoo, and I remember talking to 4 Year about this, that says Heroes Get Remembered, Legends Never Die, in the same font as their album cover. So I'm pretty sure like the whole emo thing with him isn't something new, or just because he was, known for, hip hop and whatnot. I think it was actually always in his blood, and he might have roots back to then. So get a fact check on his Heroes Get Remembered, Legends Never Die tattoo, if it was because of the 4 Year Strong album, Rise or Die Trying.
Well,
That's
Rob,
your
I can
homework.
add to this a little bit of,
There we
of
go.
my understanding of Machine Gun Kelly was that he was a rapper. He is still a rapper, but he was a pop punk kid, and his favorite band was Blink-182. I remember hearing that a couple of years ago. There's no source for that information, just my brain.
Yeah, there's a lot of people.
That can be fact checked too.
There's a lot of people in general said he's been like into like punk music, because I remember I had one friend when I was in high school who's like really into MGK, so it's like 2009, 2012 area, and they showed me a photo of him. They said, "Oh, look, just look how he looks like," and he had all these tattoos, and one of them was of the Misfits, and I was like, "Oh, okay, so." Ideally, you didn't just get tattooed for the Misfits just for funsies, and you actually listened to them a little bit. So I was like, oh, so he does have these types of like roots that, stem out into rap, because that's what he did at the time. So I think that he does have some embedment in there prior. It's just that like after the beef with him and Eminem and him pivoting over to pop punk, because he probably saw it as more beneficial. And in general, I even said, I'm like, this dude looks more like a pop punk emo kid than a rapper. So I always had like cognitive disconnect whenever I like saw him in general. So to see it now, for me, it makes more sense. But obviously, he has different reasons for switching over to it.
I wonder, I wonder if there is a lot to, because what I didn't really understand. Well, I should say this: when we were touring, the idea of an emo night wasn't a thing. You know how like emo night's massive right now everywhere, every town has their own little emo night. And
we were just at one last night.
Okay, perfect. So you get it. But when we used to go and tour in the UK, in Europe, and this is between 2000 and 2005, you would go to like a nightclub, right? Like we had these nightclubs in New York we would go to, but it would be new wave, you know, like hipster music from the early 2000s, like Yeah Yeah Yeahs and Interpol and Modest Mouse and all that stuff. That would just get played at the clubs. But there was no, like, you wouldn't hear, you know, any punk bands really in it. But we would go to the same nights that were these like dance nights in UK and Europe. They'd play, you know, oh, there's Franz Ferdinand, there's the Killers, and then it'd be like the Get Up Kids, and then they'd play like some other Placebo song or whatever, you know, thing was going, new wave, new order type thing. And then they're playing, you know, Taking Back Sunday, right? So it was funny because I actually had a conversation. This is very early. This is like 2009 to 2010 with Anthony Ranieri from Bayside. He had just went to UK to tour, and he's like, Rob, maybe we should like do like a thing where we DJ in New York, but we do emo stuff or pop punk stuff or punk stuff, because he had just seen it in Europe. So he was real early in the idea of actually trying to do that in America. But the reason I really bring that up is because somehow, you know, we see, you know, artists like Machine Gun Kelly that are big, and it seems like it's out of nowhere, but maybe it's not. What I never really understood in theory was like, why is Avril Lavigne all of the sudden looped into emo in a big way? It feels like a real big way, because I didn't feel that back then. I didn't remember that.
Got him again.
Introduced, you might have been listening to Avril Lavigne when you learned about Fall Out Boy, right? So somehow there was a connection. But then while we're having this conversation, it makes a little more sense to me. When Heath and I and the other guys were writing our album, Living Well is the Best Revenge, in Los Angeles, and recording it in 2001, we were staying at the Oakwood Apartments, which is like, it's like where bands used to stay when they'd record. The major labels would put bands up to stay. It's like a, you know, fully furnished, you know, Heath and Tyler would share a room, Gabe and I would share a room, but it was like one apartment. So, you know, there's a few other bands there. And there was a little pop punk band that had just signed to MCA Records called Off by One. I don't remember the music, but typically, you know, like pop punk kids that loved Blink 182, basically. And there was this little girl staying at the Oakwood Apartments. So we were over one night. Off by One brings over this little girl. She's got like pink and blue. She's got dyed black hair, but like the pink and blue in it with like little braid, you know, like you take the lanyards and you wrap it around with colors and something, whatever.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, thank you. So, and she had these like the fishnet stockings on your arms, you know, this look. So it's kind of like, interestingly, like punk goth look. So they bring her into our apartment, and you know, everybody's talking, and I'm like, oh, so you make music? She goes, yeah, I write all my own songs. And I go, what do you sound like? And this little girl, I mean, I'm like literally 15 or probably 16 years old at the time, maybe even, is like trying to say that all these random bands. And then I had to finally ask, what does your label say you sound like? Because that's how you have to really get out of some, because we all want, like, including ourselves, like you always want to be that one next up cooler. And she goes, Alanis Morissette meets Sheryl Crow. She said to me.
Interesting.
So,
wow, that's
So fast forward about like 3 to 4 weeks max, we're watching MTV in that same apartment, and the music video comes on, and it's the girl that was in the apartment. There's like a skateboarder going behind in the music video, and I'm like, oh my god, that's her! And it sounds it kind of sounds Sheryl Crow meets Alanis Morissette, and it was Complicated. It was the music video for Complicated.
Oh my God.
So that
Holy
was
shit.
Avril Lavigne hanging out with a bunch of pop punk emo kids in 2001. So maybe there are some roots I didn't realize now that I look back, because she was literally in, our apartment.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's your roots. Don't forget your roots, right? There
Don't
you go.
forget your roots, guys.
Yeah.
That is just like, it's just so interesting where all these like artists are coming from and growing in the scene. And like, I think that we all felt like it's very like, this is what it is at this time, and didn't think like it was ever going to be anything else. But now like that everybody's like, either people like us who are revisiting it because we were there at the time, or people who are just hearing this kind of music for the first time and are getting really into it and now are experiencing it. It's like, I don't know. It always had the potential to still be there, but I think we saw music as like going in waves. It was like, yeah, rock music was really popular. Emo and pop punk was really popular in the early 2000s. And then it was all dubstep and EDM. I was a big dubstep fan. Okay. I'm going to put it out there. And then it goes into like, pop and hip hop and all that. And now it's kind of just everything. Like everybody can find all kinds of music. Avril Lavigne can have a resurgence now. Whereas, it's like, were any of us thinking about Avril Lavigne for the past 10 years? Maybe, maybe not. But now it's like, yeah, we can just like all the same stuff again. It's very interesting how it evolved, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it did.
There we go.
There we go.
So let's get
Things
back
go in
to
cycles.
Yeah.
let's get back to talking a little bit about some of your music. So in your gun show interview, and Rob and I, we kind of were like talking a little bit about this before we went live. You did mention that again, you may want to do a cover at these MCR shows because you're worried that nobody's going to know who you guys are. When I saw MCR in LA, I was there and I saw Thursday, and I like Thursday. I know at least their singles enough and to be like, yes, I'm enjoying this show. Everyone around me felt like did not know who Thursday was and was upset they were playing. So you mentioned you may do a cover, and it may be Mr. Brightside. Is that still in
Interesting.
the pipeline potentially, or
So-
are you gonna X that out?
Yeah, just to be clear, Guns said that would be the cover. We never said that would be the cover.
Okay, there we go.
We just did not think it was we did not think it was a terrible idea.
That's fair. That's fair.
That's a hard song to play, though, man. That's hard.
For a
It's
guitarist,
long,
yeah.
right?
That one,
How
Rob.
long is that song?
It's only like
Yeah.
3 minutes or so, but it's just a hard riff.
Let me
It's
ask
a
you a
hard
question.
riff. It's very, like, your hand looks like this.
Ooh.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't know how the
You're
guy
playing
played it.
I don't know either. I've watched videos of, like, of how to play it, and it makes no sense.
Yeah.
Could we get your suggestions and also see if people could ask in the Twitch chat for some suggestions as well? And I think, put yourself in the place of being in the band. Like, you have to go play in front of, 15 to 20,000 people that have no idea who you are. What would be a good song to cover? That's, something that's not super current, but not obscure.
Skater Boy has come up in the chat.
Yeah.
You
No.
could do an Avril Lavigne cover.
That's not happening.
You said
However,
absolutely
let me tell you
not.
this. My friend Evan Tobenfeld wrote that friggin' song. Like, it's insane. He went on, so after Midtown, I went on to manage bands at Crush Music. Evan worked at Crush with me. He was the guitar player in the music video. It's like super crazy small world. That's like more weird emo connection.
Yeah. Another recommendation is Break Stuff, Limp Bizkit.
Oh, a lot of nostalgia for Limp Bizkit.
I mean,
No, people would go hard for
it's
that
coming
song.
back.
People do go hard for that song.
They came back. People have come back to liking Limp Bizkit in 2022, and
Non-ironically.
it's just the same thing. The scene evolves. The scene comes back around.
He's I think Fred Durst has. I think TikTok has helped him a lot. Honestly,
Oh yeah.
because it's like somehow, I don't even know if this is possible to say, there's something a little more endearing about him now, seeing him on TikTok with like having a fun, genuine personality. Yeah.
Mhm.
Unless I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, tell me, please.
No.
No,
I
mean,
right.
I hope it's a genuine personality too. It seems like it when I go on TikTok. So,
and I love he's got way more gray hair than me, which totally makes me feel better. So thank you for doing this, Fred.
Someone's gonna take one for the team, make everyone else feel better about it.
Cheers, Fred. It's weird to call him without his last name.
We see a lot of Fall Out Boy Rex, Sugar We're Going Down, Sports by Beach Bunny, Hamilton, like Hamilton musical.
Just the do the entire musical.
I've never seen it. I don't know anything about it.
That's the second time we've heard that, though. That's
Are you
the second
kidding
person to tell us to do Hamilton. I'm like, I totally missed Hamilton. I wasn't on the train.
It went past me, and I still don't get it. I don't know if I want to get it at this point.
Yeah.
It's good. It's just, would it be? I mean, it would go off as a cover. Probably people would know it in the audience and be like, "Yeah." I don't know why they did that.
What's the Hamilton?
I mean, I don't know what any of them are called, but there's like a lot of, I don't know, a lot of stuff about history, I guess.
Oh, there's one called Alexander Hamilton, which has 225 million streams on Spotify.
That one may be it for you then. That one may be it.
People in the audience might know that.
Yeah, interesting.
You also have some Jimmy Eat World, Rex, Bleed American. I think that could also be a good one, potentially.
Love Jimmy Eat World.
I would love to see that song. They're the best band in the world.
Jimmy World, yeah.
They're incredible.
Well, we have to pick one now because we have to start a rumor.
Oh.
We have to start rumors here, actually, yeah.
Well, the two of you need to pick. We're waiting on your...
Oh.
Yeah.
There we go. Let's see.
I flipped it.
There we go. Flipping it around.
All right, it's us. We have to start a rumor.
Oh, man. All right, Brian. What's the rumor?
I'm going to go with Ratatouille's suggestion of Nookie because I think it's even funnier than doing break stuff. So
come on.
You guys will be covering Nookie.
But now
on
you're
this MCR
taking somebody
tour.
else's suggestion, Brian.
I'm picking it though. I'm choosing it for them.
My God.
Look,
I think Senses Fail actually covered Nookie.
Yeah, Nookie's out.
So
there.
legally they can't now.
They did it.
They did a whole new metal one.
Can't do it.
All right, fine.
They did a System of a Down song. It was awesome.
Yeah. All right, let's step back from new metal then.
No, you could do Linkin Park. You could maybe try to do a Linkin Park song. Who can rap and do Bleed It Out? Between you guys, figure it out. Who's Mike Shinoda? Who's Chester Bennington in this? Go for it.
Yeah.
I would say Gabe is probably the best rapper among us. We used to do like a Tribe Called Quest song in between. Okay. Remember that when we would do that in Is It Me? Did we do that in Is It Me? Is It True? There was a spot in the set where we did a Tribe song.
Yeah, it would be Gabe, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that would probably be him.
I want to throw out an outlier right now. This is very interesting because I was thinking about this. It is very current, but I feel like it has a little more staying power than a lot of recent, current songs. Think about the drum beat, Heath. In The Weeknd has the song "Blinding Lights," which kind of feels like it feels like that '80s song. Do 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 do.
Oh, Take On Me.
Yeah, it sounds like it has a Take On Me vibe, which is also an awesome song. Oh my God, maybe that's it.
Oh, there you go.
Mashup.
The Weeknd, aha mashup.
Yeah,
you got a range. You get the kids,
and their parents.
The adults. There you go. Who brought them there?
Yeah,
Megamind energy.
You start with Take On Me because I think that would be a little less popular. And then you flip it halfway through to Blinding Lights. Interesting.
There we go. Because that's when you
hook
them.
Uses that drum beat is Young Turks by Rod Stewart.
Oh, Tyler.
Throw that in there too.
Tyler is a big Rod. Tyler from Midtown.
Oh my God.
Is a big Rod Stewart fan. In fact, if you look at like 2002 Midtown photos, Tyler looks like Rod Stewart. His hair is feathered. It's amazing. Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's like this is the look that I want for 2022.
You're gonna come back to the
Rod
band.
Stewart.
You're gonna come back to the band and you're gonna reverse it on them. And you're like, I didn't know that we were gonna be doing this. Hey guys, guess what? yeah, we didn't know about this. Now you don't know we're doing this. But guess what? Here we are.
The internet
Have,
knows
like, a
already,
shared
guys, so we have
Spotify
to do it.
All right. I'm adding the 3 songs, Heath, to our shared playlist so we have a list of all our Midtown songs that we need to learn because it's been 8 years. And before that, it was, 17 years. Because a lot of the songs we're going to play now, we actually didn't play when we did a quick reunion show in 2014, because the reunion show in 2014 was, we were playing part of a festival called Skate and Surf. So we didn't, it was only like, a 45 minute set. So now we're actually relearning songs we literally haven't touched, potentially in 20 years, from 2002, some of them. So I'm going to add these 3 songs we just discussed to our Midtown playlist to learn. So
this is how a band of 40-year-old men communicate with each other in 2022.
We love it.
Through Spotify
playlists, Google Drive links, and spreadsheets. It's really, really awesome.
He's not wrong.
But like, that speaks to me because I'm like,
yeah, Brian loves Google spreadsheets. There's one day we were hanging out and I like walked out of the bathroom and he's like, I'm watching this thing about Excel sheets.
Yo, this
and
dude's
like,
giving me
what
so
are
many
you
tips on
talking
Google
about?
spreadsheets right now. So into it. Yeah.
I use Excel all the time at work. I love it. I'm way into it.
Look, if you're not into Excel yet, guys, go learn Excel. I'm just saying, like, it's game changing.
Yeah.
Game changing.
Rob, how do you feel about
Silly.
Excel? There's a better program.
Oh,
that you're
I'm
gonna
just
tell us
watching the
about.
viewer count just fell from 800 to 3.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they said absolutely not. I'm not doing it.
Oh, I'm sorry. You
anymore.
guys didn't want productivity tips with Midtown in your middle of your Saturday? I'm so sorry we didn't.
A good template.
Sorry, we didn't
template,
hit
and
what
then
like
you'll be
you
fine.
thought it was gonna hit.
Target demo, old emo people in their mid 30s, early 30s to early 40s, mid 40s, Excel tips actually might not be as far away as we'd all assume.
Look, if it's
Target
3 of
demographic.
us in this chat right now, except for Lizzie, who hates spreadsheets,
I hate
I think
spreadsheets.
that's a pretty good percentage of people.
All right, we're learning pivot tables right now.
Oh,
Ignore
no.
that. Let's move on.
Yeah. No cover. You're not going to do a cover song. You're just going to teach the audience how to do a
Yeah.
pivot table,
Yeah.
which is a transferable skill. Okay, it's necessary. You gotta have it. I want to talk a little bit about your influence on music. Well, now
Doesn't care. See, what did he say before? Does not care
He's like-
about music.
he's like, I
Just
don't
does
care.
not-
Cormac, do you care
do
about
not
music?
No.
No. This is broken. This is like full on broken.
Uh oh.
Sorry, man.
F's in the chat for the broken toy.
F's in chat.
Do you guys want to see me glue this back together?
Oh,
That's
man.
probably all we could do.
Yeah,
It's thrilling. Cormac, give me the super glue.
Oh,
we're
super
going on
glue.
tour with My Chemical Romance. Let me glue this together.
And I know where I got it.
I think it's in the hutch. Go ask Mom. I think it's in the hutch. He's just going to bring me in thanks to Crazy Glue.
Yeah,
Love
perfect.
it.
I'm going to read what my friend sent me because he was so fucking stoked that we were talking to you. He's I still believe Forget What You Know influenced other bands so much that the scene completely changed in the next 2 years, specifically the darker vaudeville style of Panic and Fall Out Boy. So, like, do you guys think that you have had that influence on the scene? Obviously, Gabe went on to do Cobra and was on Fuel by Ramen, and there were working for Crush Management, which was very heavily in the Fueled by extended universe, the Decadence extended universe. Like, what is it? Do you feel like you have that influence, or how do you feel about like where your music was still loved by a lot of these bands that went on to continue doing those sorts of things?
I never actually thought about Forget What You Know transcending to the next generation of the scene, but I think there was something interesting that, right after we broke up, I noticed pop punk emo, whatever we want to call it, got even poppier, got even more on the radio. You know, nothing negative or positive, but like Boys Like Girls was very, very, very candy sugarcoat. Metro Station was very candy bubblegum. So I wonder, from what you're saying, is around 2010, it seems like that's when, and please help me out here. I need the help. Around 2010, is that when Midwest emo started to like become its own thing? Does that sound right to you?
Yeah, that's about the time, because I remember being in high school and everyone was like Midwest emo, as I like to call it, the brocore pop punk. So like you have like State Champs, you have Real Friends, you have things like that, and Midwest emo melding together during that time. And then it really exploded in like 2012, 2014.
Yeah. So something Heath said earlier was like things go in cycles, right? So once a certain scene gets so big or a certain style gets so big, a lot of times there's, I don't want to call it a revolt, but, you know, there's something where, you know, for the people who have it to themselves and it's personal and it's not at this mass major label level, they kind of take it back, right? So I think around, you know, like you said, 2010 to 2014, a lot of these bands that started getting big, instead of going back and looking at the, you know, more poppy sugary bands, would go back a generation further and find those, you know, like the bands that never went to become those massive major label bands. And I think that's probably had a lot of influence on how that, I guess they call it the fourth generation of emo. I thought only ska had generations or waves.
Well, apparently we're in fifth wave emo, so
yeah, exactly.
We're there
somehow. But I think that has a lot to do with it, right? And forget what you know, it didn't have a lot of the noodling. Oh, it had a little bit, but it didn't have a lot of the noodling like in a lot of the Midwest emo songs that you hear. But it was certainly darker, and it certainly had, you know, a lot of vibe. And, you know, I guess mood is an interesting term, right? Because a lot of Midwest emo, you put it on and there's certainly a mood while you're listening to it. And maybe
that's a good Frozen.
Influencing in a certain way or another, whether it I'm always frozen. I'm cold. It's like my heart. Sorry. But yeah, maybe, yeah, God bless. Like, that's super cool if it did influence. I don't know how much it influenced Panic or Fall Out Boy, but I mean, God, that's even cooler if it did, because, you know, those were bands that were meaningful to, you know, a large amount of people.
I mean, I know you posted the documentary on your Instagram, because I was watching a couple of those clips, and it's like, I mean, Pete Wentz was a pretty huge fan of Midtown from what I remember, and he was very influenced by a lot of it.
Yeah, he's awesome. I mean, like, listen, not only, I mean, whether or not he was influenced, he was always very good to us. He took us on tour, but like, sometimes like these big artists get massive and they get big and like they change who they are as people, or they're just like even to today, he's like the same nice person to us as he was in 2003, right? And I think that's a rare quality and a real rare trait. And, you know, I have no idea what people say on the internet, this, that, or the other, but, you know, he's always been extremely real to us. And that's always been meaningful to me. And same with my chem, right? Like I don't even need to say it about my chem. You could see it by looking at the bands they took out on tour. You know, like you said, Thursday or Taking Out Us. I mean,
they have Homeless Gospel Choir, which I saw them here in Chicago when Frank Iero and The Celebration at Reggie's, and I love them. They're so good. Same thing with like Modern Chemistry. I was like, these are really good bands, and I saw the fact that like they're bringing Homeless Gospel Choir, which I think is somebody who's a very underrated like activist punk artist, to some of their shows. I'm like, that's so sick.
Where are they from?
Pittsburgh.
I think they're over on the East Coast.
Because Modern Chemistry is another Jersey band, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, so maybe that's just part of growing up in the punk scene, right? We just have something different in our blood. We think differently. We grew differently, and music is meaningful in a different way. You know, I don't think you get into punk music by saying, let's be the biggest band in the world. You get into punk music because you go to a show you see, 20 of your closest friends tearing their heads off in the pit, but like it's the most communal thing you could imagine, and it's part of being about that culture versus being the biggest band in the world. Like I remember going to this one, for me it was absolutely legendary, the most meaningful venue that I ever had. It was called City Gardens in Trenton, New Jersey. It shut down in like, I don't know, 99 ish. But that's where I would go, and I'd see all like the bands that I ended up loving for the first time ever, whether it was Rancid or H2O, Bouncing Souls, Weston, No Effects, Lagwagon. I would all go see them at this venue. And the first show I went to in 1994, when I was watching, it wasn't, I'm watching the stage, and I looked at, and I didn't look up and say, I want to be the biggest band in the world. I said, whatever this is and whatever this feeling is, this is what I want to be a part of. And that was why I started a band. And I think it's the same exact thing for Fall Out Boy and the same exact thing for my chem. You didn't start the band to say, I want to be the biggest band in the world. But you work hard and your music's awesome and you're super talented and good things can happen. But you got to work hard. And all those bands, they tore their butts off like nobody's business. Seriously.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be doing a TED Talk afterwards.
Yeah, just
if you're all interested. So cool.
There we go. You got the Excel sheet in the background, the TED Talk. You have all the punk bands in the Excel sheet. It's good to go.
Hell yeah.
Dude, do we need a punk rock database?
No.
Sorry. My brain is working on a spreadsheet right now.
It may be time.
Alice will build it in Java and Kotlin. Don't worry.
Yeah, thanks, Alice.
The most I did was I made like an Excel spreadsheet to send out to people of all the college radio stations in the U.S. at least. And I was like, hey, put it in here and then send your music here. That's it. And that was my Excel sheet adventure.
I like it.
Very helpful.
Yeah.
Look, it's amazing. Our viewer count's going back up now that we're saying like, yo, but like, what if we had spreadsheets about music,
no.
People are like, I'm listening. I'm back.
It's like, sounds interesting. So what could also potentially sound interesting, though, is the prospect of any potential new music. Do you have any in the wheel works, or is it just kind of like you're just going to play some of your older stuff and call it a day?
Well, I don't think that we've ruled it out. I think that right now our focus is getting back to the songs that we're going to be playing. But I think as we go forward and keep practicing and keep getting together, if people have ideas and we want to explore them, I think we will. I don't think we'll hold it back, but we don't have any plans right now, but we're also not, excluding it.
It's funny. We've been getting that question a lot on, comments on socials, and like my response is really, and it's super genuine. It's like, I can't even think about that until I learn the old songs first, right? Like, we got shows to play. We got to play these shows first.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's just like so. I guess like from a nostalgia grab point, you're like, well, we don't need to write anything new. We already have all these songs. But from like a musician standpoint, it's like, well, we want to write. Like we like making music. We like creating the process of it. But like if you're, I guess this is sort of a weird question because it's like you don't know where you're going yet. But like if you're a band that's like we're reuniting, we're doing shows, we're doing these tours, we're doing all this stuff, and then you're like also we're just gonna like stay a band now. We're gonna write new music and then we're gonna tour on a record. It's like kind of it's like a weird like we're not like it doesn't sound like that's the plan. It sounds like the plan is like we're just gonna do some shows, but now. Do you do that tour and tour on a record and do a record cycle, or do you just go, yeah, we're just playing some shows, having a good time?
So, yeah, I mean, I have a lot of feelings on that because to me, it's really clear. Like, there's no nostalgia grab for these shows. We haven't played a headline show for the people that had supported us from 1998 to 2005. Since 2005, have we done a real proper headliner? So for us, it's like this is, 17 years in the making to actually play the songs. Some we may not even have performed since 2001 or 2002. So like that's 100% the idea and the point, because it's meaningful to so many people and it's so much fun. We all have full-time jobs, right? So even when we were putting together these shows on, it was kind of like, it felt like I was in a band at 16 years old again, where I was like, oh, let me call my boss and see if I can take off work those days. And then I've used all my, PTO days for the rest of the year. However, I think the whole experience of this, I've had such a blast playing music, either at the rehearsal space on my own, with the guys when we got together, that I think if there were new music at some point, it would be 100% because it's really fun to do. And it's really enjoying to do. Because I think if any of us wanted to make money, we're working at our jobs, we're not going to like be 42 years old putting out, some new emo songs when we haven't done it since 2000, put out new music since 2004. So, but that is the one real like sweet takeaway of all of this so far, at least for me, is that I've really enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I was going to. And it's been a fun experience. So yeah, I can see it. I can see something for fun. I always try to get Heath to sing more. He's become a little shy in his older age. The thing is, I always thought Heath had a fantastic voice, and I know the other guys in Midtown do too. But I feel like sometimes you're a little insecure about it for some reason or the other. But tell me I'm wrong.
No, you're right. I am insecure about it. And thanks for talking about it, Rob.
He just brought it up. He just said, hey, I'm going to call you out right now.
He's out of the band. He quits. Thanks, Rob.
Well, you guys are also playing Furnace Fest. That was just announced literally like yesterday. And that's like this new nostalgic like look back on like kind of like old school emo. Again, like we kind of said, the Rites of Spring type of thing, but not really. So how do you feel about getting on there? And are you going to be on more like festivals upcoming from there? Or plan on doing festivals?
There are a lot of great bands playing that festival. A lot of people that we're friends with. We're going to get to see them. Anti-Flag is playing the same day that we're playing. They were the first band to like vouch for us on a festival. First time we ever played Warped Tour, we were playing a stage after them, and at the last song, bass player Christopher 2 was like, he gave us a huge shout out. He's like, you guys have to stay right here. The band who's coming on next, they're called Midtown. I love this band. You have to stay and watch them. No one knew who we were, but he somehow corralled the crowd to just stay there and watch us. And that was like a really sweet moment and sentiment from him. And we've always been friends with those guys since the beginning. We've toured with them so many times. So I'm looking forward to seeing them, looking forward to seeing NFG. Unfortunately, we're not playing the same day as Pedro the Lion, who is one of my favorite bands. I love Pedro the Lion. But, it's going to be a great festival, and I think we're open to doing that too, going forward.
Yeah, we got lucky on the day we're playing because not only is Anti-Flag and Midtown on, but crazy. When we like, the funny thing about being in Midtown, I think for all of us, is our band kind of always stayed at the same level to some extent, but we would take out bands and watch them get really big, right? Whether it was Thursday, Senses Fail, Dashboard, Taking Back, like a million bands, my chem. But one of the shows we did like that, we were headlining at the basement of this place in Arizona called The Nile Theater. It had a little basement. We were at, by the way, 200 cap, maybe 250 people. We were headlining. Thrice was direct support, and a band called Never Gonna Score was the opener. Yes. So first of all, yeah, okay, good. I like Never Gonna Score. They had a whole Get Up Kids vibe. So first of all, Thrice is headlining the day we're playing, which makes it even more sweet to play Furnace Fest. But that band, Never Gonna Score, well, they were these little kids in high school. They ended up starting a band called The Format after that. And then after the format, fun evolved into that. So it's been fun to watch all these bands do that and then be able to reconnect with them later in life. But right now, these are the only shows we're playing. Like, there's no more festivals on the docket. Ideally, we would have liked to have announced everything at the same time, but venues and whatnot, they have their you have to wait for whatever reason they tell you have to wait. So yeah, right now there's no other festivals at the moment. So there's still some tickets for a few My Chem shows and Midtown headliners in Long Island and Massachusetts. So we'd love to see you. I'm so excited that both of you are coming to the East Coast from Chicago to see us play. Thanks.
That's
Wow,
really kind
crazy.
of you guys. Thank you.
Yeah, that's crazy. Brian and I gotta, a book everything. Get out there.
It's cool. It's cool that you're bringing like hundreds of your friends too. That's really
yeah. We
awesome
rented a
you
couple
guys.
planes just to fly everybody over from Chicago.
Yeah, very casual. Nothing crazy.
Yeah,
Just
the entire population of Chicago will just fit into the entirety of the East Coast. Will just spread out and be at all the shows.
Our little community, our club, as we call it. They get first. They get the first class. Everyone else coach, but it's okay.
Bands
still
in the back.
Yeah. If you're wondering where you sit on the plane, we have a spreadsheet. It will be sent to you, and you will be able to know where you sit.
I was waiting for that.
Yeah.
It's called a callback in comedy, by the way, everybody listening.
Yeah. Oh,
you have a joke
look.
early on. You tie up the interview with the callback, and everybody laughs.
That's how I do it. That's how I do it. I'm a comedian. I can say it now. I'm not. That's a good spot to then say, like, what else do you have for like plugs or where? Obviously, knowing that all these shows are for the most part sold out, which is going to be a conflict for us to get to that show then if it's sold out. But where else can people find you on the internet? Where else can people get to know your band before they see you and all that kind of stuff?
Sweet. Yeah. So first of all, come out to Long Island and Massachusetts just went on sale. So they're not sold out yet since they just went on sale. Come out and see us then. Our website, midtownrock.com. It used to be with Google, when you're popular.
Always right when you're saying something. Yeah.
Now that we're less popular. So, this is going to be fun. We're looking forward to seeing everybody. And quite frankly, I don't know if we're ever going to do headline shows again. So this will be the time to see some random songs we may never play again in our lives. We'll see. Who knows? Dramatic pause.
Dramatic pause. But with the lag on the internet, I'm always just like, I just want to let it sit for somebody to, in case somebody is adding something. But
gluing something.
Or gluing something,
Sorry, guys.
Call back.
Look, it responsibilities to
What's
glue
that?
things. Responsibilities.
MXPX reference.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't know MXPX, huh?
That was never a band that I got into. It just isn't. Look, I never got into Rites of Spring either, but apparently that's fine
for you too. It's fine, but got to know your roots. That's
I love that we're talking about Rites of Spring so much. This is great.
But we're adding. That's the problem.
We're adding layers.
Yeah.
Legacy that didn't exist. We're adding to it.
There were some great songs. Come on.
All right, I'm going to listen to Rites of Spring after this interview.
Underappreciated.
Yeah.
I think Lifetime covered a Rites of Spring song too.
Oh, shit.
I'm going to look this up.
Guys, after this podcast, we're running Rites of Spring right up the charts,
right up there,
right up the Spotify
streams,
charts.
Confuse everybody on the internet.
Yeah.
Make it go viral on TikTok. The kids are gonna have no fucking idea what's going on, but we're just gonna roll with it.
Fuck, the internet is so weird.
I don't know.
I was like thinking like how weird it would be if like all of a sudden Rites of Spring was just very popular on TikTok. That'd be awesome.
Well, I know that
Alice, don't link
Midtown.
that in the chat.
I was about to say Midtown does have some TikToks songs on there because I used a couple to promote this. So it's like came up first, and I said, "All right, let's go."
Awesome.
I've had Give It Up stuck in my head since we booked this. I've just had the song running in the background of my head for the entire time. So I have a head that's like TikTok, where I just have a song repeating in my head, but I don't have to watch kids dancing to it, I guess.
I hope it's just the intro where it's the drums and guitar over and over again.
It's most of, yeah,
over and over.
It's most of the song at different parts, and then I just have like the chorus, repeating. It's just how it goes, just have that song stuck in my head. I heard Emo Girl for the first time the other day. That song's been living rent free in my head since we watched it on stream, Lizzie, and
we did a react on stream because Brian
had a visceral reaction to Emo Girl by MGK. It's a song. It is. Somebody made it, and it's
Willow's part though is good. It's very good.
Yeah, she definitely has a part in a song. There's that.
Sweet.
Well, we're at an hour. We are going to keep this conversation going over on Twitch for a little bit with everybody who's hanging out over there. Answer some questions. So yeah, we'll go do that. But if you're in the East Coast area and some of these shows are not sold out by the time you're listening to this, go buy a ticket. And if you can't make it to the show, just give that ticket to me or Lizzie so that we can go, because we have to be there now.
Well, listen, what are the dates for those shows? Are those back in November, September, October?
December.
Okay, so you have to give it to me because my birthday's in December. You legally do.
Great.
Yeah.
So is mine and Rob's. Our birthdays are in December as well.
Wait, when's your guys' birthdays?
I'm the 21st, and Rob is the 5th.
Oh, I'm the 15th. We're all right there.
Okay.
Great.
Love
It's
it.
about to get astrological in here, and I don't like it. Yeah, so go get those tickets. Check out Midtown. If this is your first time hearing of Midtown, you're wrong for that, and you should go listen to them because it's fucking good music. So I'll be mad at you. So angry at this hypothetical person I've made up.
You to death, then.
Oh, dude, yeah, I'll get a spreadsheet. I'll send it to you. You have no idea what you're in for. Yeah, so let's keep the conversation going over on Twitch. But Rob, Heath, so good to hang with you today.
Yeah, this was great.
Thanks for having us.
Oh, yeah, thank you, Brian and Lizzie.